Hello, and welcome to UXDX Online. I hope you're as excited as I am for the talk that we have this afternoon. But before we jump into that, I want to give a really quick introduction to UXDX and why we host these sessions. So at UXDX, our motto, albeit a bad one, is that the world is full of bad software. And what we mean by that is not kind of software that doesn't work. It's software that's just clunky and awkward to use. And I always go to my banking example. I have one of those new digital first banks, and I also have a very traditional old bank. And the apps technically do the same features, but they're worlds apart in terms of usability. And I know which one I'll always reach for, which obviously, if you're a bank, that's a dangerous position to be in. And our mission is to help companies build an environment that can't build bad software, because we don't believe that it's down to the people. I don't think it's a skill issue or anything like that. I think it's the processes that companies are using. Our mission is to try help people change those processes. And the key way that we see that happening is moving away from waterfall, or more commonly water scrum fall in a lot of companies, where you're still locking in the idea, but you're just doing iterative scrum cycles to build it. And we want to move towards truly autonomous, empowered product teams, where you own it the whole way from the initial idea until you've got satisfied customers. And that's really easy to say and really hard to do in practice. And that's where these talks come in. So nobody's going to explain the whole process because that's far too big. But we always ask people to come and share how they're improving bits and pieces along the way. And that's where our talk today is going to come in. So we are hoping that you'll come up with some questions as we go through this. And the speakers are really excited to answer any questions you have. So you can write those in on whichever platform you're watching this on, and I'll ask those questions to the speakers at the end. But that's enough from me. You're not here to listen to me talk. So I'd like to introduce our speakers for tonight. There's Tom Higgins, who is the Senior Growth Product Marketer at Voxpopme, as well as Katie Walker, who's a Product Manager at Voxpopme. And they'll be talking about simplifying user interviews for UX teams. So I'd like to welcome Katie and Tom to the stage. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Rory. Appreciate the very warm introduction. And yeah, good day everyone here listening. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with the UXDX community today. And yeah, just super excited to share why UX teams are switching their user interviews to Voxpopme. But before we get to all that good stuff, I want to quickly introduce ourselves, although Rory did a great job. So yeah, very briefly, I am Tom Higgins, Voxpopme's Senior Product Marketing Manager, and I spend my days trying to understand how researchers go about understanding the audiences that they care about and sharing how Voxpopme can help them in that process with video-based qualitative research. And yourself, Katie?
Cool, thanks, Tom. So yeah, I'm Katie. I'm one of the product managers here at Voxpopme. So I tend to focus on building the tools to help you guys do the interviews. So I previously worked in a customer experience team in a major high street bank. So kind of know a bit of the stuff you were talking about, Rory. So I've got experience from both angles.
That's awesome. You can share banking stories after the presentation. Yeah. Excellent, thank you. And yeah, for those of you that don't know Voxpopme, we have spent the last decade scaling customer conversations with our video-first qualitative research platform, and the last 2 years applying AI to that process to enable video conversations at unbelievable scales, and really just increasing the access to human stories for businesses across the world. Traditionally, we've worked with consumer insights teams, some of the world's largest brands, a handful of which you can see on the slide there. But over the past 6 months, we've started to see more and more UX teams coming to work with Voxpopme because they want to access real user stories to build their understanding of users, understand why they behave the way they do, and really get to actionable, emotive insights that they can share within their businesses. And the shared or common thing across both consumer insights teams and UX research teams is that they all really value the power of the conversation and know that it's an unbelievably powerful way to unlock deep user understanding, and an opportunity to connect and hear what users are saying, what they're feeling, the rationale behind the way they behave. So yeah, really incredible way to build a deeper understanding, but also a really powerful way to share user stories within their organizations as well, to actually take a conversation that's been had with the user and distribute that to other teams that don't perhaps have direct access to users is just an incredibly rich way to share those stories, build empathy for users, and help drive decisions at the end of the day. But sadly, conversations don't always come easily. I like to think of this as a spectrum on this slide, and there's different ways that UX teams can go about having conversations with their users. On the one end of the scale is the in-person user interview, which is an incredible way to connect with real people, as I say, in person, but it has limitations when it comes to geography, scalability. You can only have so many people there in person, and just the sheer willpower to organize and orchestrate an in-person event, find a venue, get people to travel there yourself. It ends up creating this incredibly long to-do list, and really is a lot of hard work to just have a handful of conversations. So what a lot of people have done is move to the middle stage of this online multi-tool or DIY approach, if you like. And here people are stringing together a series of different software tools. So perhaps using Gmail or Outlook to communicate with respondents and try and engage with them and find time to schedule their user interviews through Google Calendar or Calendly. Then when they actually conduct them, they're turned into Microsoft Teams or Zoom to host those video calls and record them. But then they've got to work with the data that they've collected and store it in OneDrive or Google Drive, depending on which platform you use. And then finally, when they get to the point where they want to share those user stories with the business, they're having to turn to things like iMovie or Premiere Pro if they've got a bit more video editing expertise to just create those stories and tell them to their business. Or the alternative is that they just pull text verbatims, which kind of like degrades the quality of the research that they've collected, because they've got this rich human story in a real face or a real screen to show the business, but you've distilled it down to just a text verbatim quote, which again, like I say, loses some of that power. So where there's problems like that, quite often there are software solutions. So there are certainly some online user research platforms that give you the ability to conduct UX research out there today. But right now we feel that UX teams aren't getting a fair deal, particularly with the market leading software in the space for conducting user interviews. We've noticed, and the conversations that we've had with UX teams already have recognized that those platforms have become incredibly expensive and really are kind of putting pricing pressure, particularly when it comes to negotiating second and third year terms of subscriptions, that it's just become an unpleasant experience when really all you want to do is have conversations with users. They're enacting harsh use it or lose it terms when it comes to credits for conducting research, and it seems that all kind of common sense has gone out the window of just having good terms and good business partners to conduct research with. And lastly, real minimal AI capabilities. There's such a feature spread that they're struggling to really embrace AI and use that to make your research process more efficient and more effective, and really, like I say, just doing the bare minimum when it comes to integrating AI into those research platforms. So why are UX teams switching to Voxpopme? Well, first and foremost, when it comes to qualitative research, we meet core UX needs. We have everything you need to recruit respondents, run asynchronous, unmoderated video surveys to collect feedback. Like I said, asynchronously, we're able to do live interviews in secure video calls. So you can do that moderated or unmoderated play. You can share and record screens in both those versions as well, so you're able to both see and hear respondents, as well as see and hear see what they're doing on their screen at the same time as well. So incredibly powerful from that perspective. And then once we've collected all that data, we enable you to use AI to analyze it at speed and scale, and also edit the footage that you've collected and create showreels that you can distribute around your business. So again, the rest of the company gets to see and hear your users based on the research that you've conducted. We offer friendlier pricing and terms, so there's certainly no harsh use it or lose it policies when it comes to Voxpopme. We have flexible pricing when that comes to for everything from incentives for the actual respondents themselves through to how you access Voxpopme. Many of those brands that I shared earlier in the presentation are on annual subscriptions with Voxpopme, but there is even an option to do ad hoc projects with Voxpopme. Like I say, the natural disposition is for people to move to that subscription, so they have that license year long. But again, friendlier pricing, friendlier terms, because we see our customers as partners. And lastly, advanced AI analytics. The UX teams that are switching to Voxpopme are always blown away by how advanced our AI capabilities are, specifically when it comes down to analytics. So in a moment, I'm going to hand over to Katie, who can walk you through a handful of those features.
Perfect. Thanks, Tom. So as Tom said, he's talked a bit about more the why. I'm going to show you a little bit about how it works and kind of show you some snippets. So if you just mind skipping on. Perfect. So as Tom said, we talked about the different types of things people need. We've developed a software that will effectively cover all the different elements. So we look at respondent recruitment. We kind of cover the moderated user interviews, the unmoderated screen recording tasks, and also just sort of unmoderated video surveys, the AI analysis, and then even the sharing of the insights as well. So I'll kind of dig into each one of those in a bit more detail in the next slides. Perfect. So if we start with the sort of basically the secure interview route. So we've developed a tool called, it's called Interview Rooms. From there, you can host and basically your user interviews or your focus groups within that platform. That is a secure environment, and it allows you to have conversations with your users. You have moderator links, you have participant links, and you have observer links. That means that you can have people watching those interviews and kind of sort of being able to converse with the moderator, sort of saying, oh, can you ask them more about this? Or and the participants are aware that that person is watching. And it really kind of brings everything in one place. So before that, you've got the scheduling side. So anything you need to do to be able to schedule anyone in, you can do that through our platform as well. So they'll join this through the participant links, you join through the moderator links, and then you kind of conduct those interviews. The best part of it, I think, is the fact that it's all secure. So it means that any recordings you do within that interview, it will go straight through into our platform. The analysis will start all the way, automatically. It means that you don't have to have that problem of running it in Zoom, for instance, downloading the recording, put it on your computer, saving it on there, and then having to upload it again to start that analysis. So it's all straightforward and goes straight through to the platform. We then also have the ability to do the sort of scale those conversations. So obviously not everyone has time to be able to do the moderated interviews. If you wanted to do sort of sharp surveys, you can do that using the video surveys. So literally a sort of 60-second kind of little snippet conversations to kind of either maybe do a precursor to those interviews or a follow-up to those interviews, depending on what you need. So that's that one. Perfect. So the next one is around being able to do sort of interacting with the screen. So on an unmoderated perspective mainly, this is where you can sort of see users interacting with either your prototypes or your products, and you can kind of sort of see it firsthand, see it real time, and you can ask the questions of sort of like ask them to perform a task, and you can kind of sort of ask them to talk through what they're doing as they're doing it, so you can kind of get that firsthand reaction to what people are doing and whether your prototype or your products are working as you expect them to. So that can be done on different devices. So you can do it on obviously desktop, mobile, etc., depending on what you need. You can do that kind of thing through a moderated live interview as well. We've got the screen share functionality, but this is kind of the main part of this is all the unmoderated and the ability to kind of see and interact with the customers and the products. Perfect. So you've then done all those interviews and the screen recordings, but you haven't got the time to spend watching all those hours of footage and kind of like having to manually review them. So this is where the AI comes into play. So Tom mentioned a bit about what we've been doing over the last couple of years. The main focus has been how we can reduce that time and that effort required to do that analysis. So with Voxpopme, we have sort of the AI tool, something that we've built, partnered with Microsoft to be able to build that. That will then effectively just start and analysing it for you. So it will kind of pull in all the data, all the kind of recordings that you've got. It will generate automatic themes, summaries, recommendations. And then even if you say it doesn't quite answer the questions that you wanted to, you can probe it further. So we have a chat function to allow you to kind of follow up questions and kind of ask a bit more detail, kind of just make sure you get really the outputs you need. And effectively, the main aim of it is to reduce the amount of time that you're doing you're having to do the analysis. So it means that you can then focus on either creating new studies or doing more interviews, or even sharing those outputs with your users or your colleagues to be able to get the kind of buy-in what you need. So it's all aimed to be able to do that kind of reduction in time. And then on the next slide, I'll show you a little bit of how that works. Perfect. So excuse the typing noise in the background, but this is our AI chat sort of function. So basically, this is a product that we did. It was a survey on Netflix, and it was kind of looking at the sort of user behavior in terms of watching power. So we've kind of asked it to kind of give a bit more information, and what you can see, assuming you can see that all well enough on the screen. So you can see that it's coming back with different quotes. So all the information that's coming back from the analysis tool is real information, because it's proved by the fact that you've got the quote there. So you can click on that quote to be able to listen to it as well. But you can say, that you're confident the information that's come back is genuine. It's from the recordings, the things you've come through. So there's an example of where you're playing that snippet as well. So as you can see, there's the quotes above, and then start again. So it's quotes above, and then you had the snippets of the actual recordings below. And then from there, you can even put them into a show reel. So you'll see in a second, it will kind of update that once
so I know what the film's
stop
about.
talking. That will then see the little add to show reel button. That will take it straight through into a show reel. So that means you can then share it with your stakeholders as you need. And then I think on the next slide, we've got perfect, just that summary. So this is where you can share the insights. So again, kind of wanting to try and make sure we've got that full journey of insights and everything through from collection to outputs. So you can then sort of like create those show reels. So you can take the snippets from what you've got from the AI analysis. You can put that into a show reel. You can then tailor that show reel for what you need to make sure that those insights are kind of delivering the impactful results you wanted to. So that's quite a versatile tool. It means you can kind of change the layout, change the kind of color schemes, change the branding, etc. as you need.
Thank you so much, Katie. I fully take the blame for resetting your video there. As we go.
That's okay.
But no, thank you. Really appreciate that walkthrough and seeing those core features as well. It's incredibly helpful. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to quickly share some stories from the UX teams that are switching to Voxpopme to conduct their user interviews. And yeah, just very briefly, as I say, in the last 6 months, we've seen a huge multinational with dozens of product lines across TVs, personal care, household appliances, and more. 15 billion plus annual sales switched to Voxpopme. A huge international clothing brand with both online and in-store retail locations. Again, huge company. And then a member of Tech's Magnificent Seven, 200 billion annual sales. Won't make anyone guess which one that is, but another huge company conducting tons of UX research, all switched their user interviews to Voxpopme, and they're doing that because where their current provider has offered seemingly complex and ever increasing pricing, Voxpopme has been able to offer them the same capabilities with those enhanced AI tools as well, but with transparent pricing that's easy to work with. So we give them full control of their research budget, and they can start working with Voxpopme with confidence on how far their research budget will go. Also, fair commercial terms. I hate even having to list this one. I feel like it should just be common sense that, as I said earlier, we treat our customers like partners, and we don't enforce harsh use it or lose it policies that are going to result in either you just running around doing research just to use up the last few credits, or leave you feeling like, hey, I've lost out because I bought credits that I didn't get to use. Again, we just use common sense, fair commercial terms with our customers in that instance. And lastly, remiss to say those superior AI capabilities, as Katie just showed very briefly there, the ability to sit there and have conversations about your data, really probe and ask questions, ask for unexpected findings, ask even AI to count how many times people mention specific things. It's just an incredibly powerful way to turn hours and hours of video research into digestible data that can then easily be shared with the other teams in your organization. So if you would like to learn more and are considering a switch to Voxpopme, I would absolutely encourage you to take out your phone, just scan this QR code, and you can book a really short demo with our team. Absolutely zero strings attached, but you get to take a closer look at the technology that we've shared there. Appreciate in a short webinar we can only give you a glimpse of what's possible. But yeah, and most importantly, we love having conversations with UX researchers. So please do reach out to us, and yeah. I'll hand it back over to Rory for Q&A, and excited to answer some of your questions.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Tom and Katie. So yeah, just to reiterate to everybody out there, this is your opportunity to ask any questions that you want. So please do write them in on whichever platform that you're watching this on, and I'll pass those questions along to the team here. But I'm actually gonna kick it off with a question, because and call me a little bit skeptical. I'm just always a bit nervous on those AI summaries on how do you know that it's actually picking out the best things, or how do you verify that to make sure that, let's say it's not just picking some random bits of information in those summaries, and it's actually picking the really good, useful stuff?
Cheers, Rory. No, that's a great question. So I'll go first, and then Katie, feel free to add to my answer if you've got additional thoughts on it. So from my perspective, I think the beauty, particularly when it comes to video-based research, is that the AI can actually back up the findings that it's presenting with associated clips. So if it's saying users get stuck at this point, or users choose to do, I don't know, let's take the Netflix example. Users choose which movie to watch based on the cast. It's going to show you associated clips, and then once you've kind of got that data and you can see those associated clips, you can further validate that point. The one of the most recent releases that we have is the ability for AI to count mentions of words and phrases within that research as well. So if you're unsure and you're like, hey, this is an interesting finding, but I need to probe further, ask it to count the number of times people mention using the cast to choose which movie they're going to watch next. Kate, I don't know if you got anything to add to that one.
Yeah, I think I just agree with you, Tom. It's just the key thing is it's the fact that it provides that evidence back to you, so you can kind of verify it yourself and just sort of sense check it. Obviously, we've had we're partnered with Microsoft to be able to build it. We've had a lot of customers using it and things like that, and generally everyone that's used it and kind of gone, oh wow, okay, yeah, it does bring back. And I think when you first try, you're probably going to just do a bit of sense checking and go, yeah, does this match if I was going to do it myself? And and everyone's been coming back saying, yeah, it's exactly what I would do, but it takes 2% of the time versus so much longer. So
brilliant. Thanks. And I guess just that kind of sense checking, how much do you propose having a human in the loop? Like, as in, is it all the analysis done? Is there some sense checking? What's your kind of recommended approach for the human in the loop element?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rory. I know there's probably lots of strong opinions out there on how much we should rely on AI to do a whole manner of different disciplines for us. I always see AI, particularly within Voxpopme's product, as an assistant. So the human is the essential part of the process. You've got tons of domain expertise, like both just human intuition as well. So I would say that the AI can give you an incredible jump off if you want to jump into a project that's got 100 video responses in it or 15 IDIs, and you want to quickly understand some of the key themes with it and see the associated clips, then AI can help you with get started, give you some ideas, but then use your own expertise to sense check the evidence that they're providing, the commentary that's being provided, and then you can also go the other way around as well. So you might come in with a preconceived thing that you want to idea that you want to explore and verify. Ask questions to the AI chat and see if it comes back and agrees with the kind of theory or hypothesis that you have, or does it come back and it's able to counterattack your like I said, the hypothesis that you have. So yeah, I think it can be used either for the start of research to come up with new ideas, or at the end to kind of validate the ideas that you do have, or disprove them as well. So yeah, the short-winded answer is the human is the essential piece of this, and being able to kind of verify the quality of that research is very much a human job still.
Great. And I guess just one thing from your example, because I thought it's always kind of hard to really gauge when you're looking at a preset example. So can you give me a kind of an idea of timelines? Like, let's say I wanted to run one of these sessions. What are we talking about? Is this like a day's setup? Is it a week setup? Is it like, so I'm just looking about the initial setup to get my responses, and then we'll dig into how we deal with those responses.
Yeah, that's a great question. I hate to give the "it depends" answer a little bit, but obviously when it comes to user research and all kinds of research, the audience that you want to speak to matters. The more niche the audience, then it may become more and more difficult to reach them. So that can extend the time. But pure setup, Voxpopme enables DIY setup, so you can be doing that in less than a few hours, and then you can kick off the recruitment process for something like an unmoderated study with video survey questions. You can start collecting responses same day. It might be 24 to 48 hours to complete a project. Again, depends on which audience you use. Voxpopme's got its own on-demand video feedback communities, but also we have access to a global panel as well. So yeah, it can be incredibly quick and getting responses straight away. Like I say, if you want to reach an incredibly niche audience, then you might be looking at a few days for a bit more of a specialist recruit. But we like to be able to fulfill a hell of a lot of research needs with the panels that we've got access to, both owned and our panel partners as well. So yeah, it can be, I would say 24 to 48 hours for video surveys, and again, set up for unmoderated. You set it up and start the recruitment round same day as well, and again start seeing those potential user interview candidates within 24 to 48 hours as well. Katie, I don't know if you got anything to add to that one.
No, I think it's spot on.
Brilliant. And is there a limitation to, like, so it's fantastic having all of these kind of summarization tools, but is there, like, I know ChatGPT has a context window and things like that. Is there, you can only have 10 videos, or you can only have, is there a set kind of limitation to this?
Yeah, I love that question, because it's a journey that we've been on. So we partnered with Microsoft to build AI analytic capabilities about 3 months after OpenAI broke the internet, and I think it's November 2022, my memory serves me right. So yeah, and we started working with Microsoft, and initially it was, hey, can we summarize one video, then can we summarize 5 videos and kind of present some usable findings off the back of that. And that quickly scaled, and we were pushing the boundaries more and more to, hey, can we do an entire project of 100 videos? And I think the largest study that we ran analysis against was 600 videos with Microsoft. So those were the short form videos, but also we did a big IDI project as well. So yeah, really like went on the journey of going from a handful of videos to now what feels like unlimited videos. I'd be careful using that word specifically, but yeah, it's got to a point now where it's actually you'd be working hard to push the limits and push beyond the boundaries, and you'd have to get a lot of video in there. And yeah, our evolution has seen us go from, hey, can we analyze a handful of videos to entire projects of videos, then kind of look at multiple projects. I did a Christmas study last year and I did a Christmas study this year. Can I compare the two and get summaries across both those projects? And now we're at a stage where actually you can use AI to search across your entire database of qualitative research. So we have what we call a research repository. So you could have user interviews stretching across a period of the last year, and just very quickly search all of that research in a moment, which is incredibly powerful. We see 2 benefits to that. One, you can give immediate answers when I know the CMO asks you an awkward question in a meeting and you need to give an answer right there and then, you can quickly search across historical research. And also it does a great job of either reducing kind of redundant user research. So, you might, if you got an answer to that question from existing user research, then why spend all the time, energy and resources going out conducting further research to verify something that you already know? And you can also prevent research duplication. So you can just like I say, if you already know it, then you don't need to do that duplicative effort. And lastly, if you do want to go out and do more research, maybe you've got half an answer to what you need, like you're going into that piece of research with a stronger foundation, because you've got more evidence to rely on to build whatever your next piece of research is, whether that's user interviews or you're going to do something quantitative perhaps. So that's that one. Again, Katie, sorry, I'm hogging all the questions here.
No worries at all. Yeah, I think you've very succinct, very thorough answer there, Tom.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Well, that actually brings us to time. So I just want to thank you once again, Tom and Katie, for kind of showing us what's new and what's out there. So I guess it's very much focused on the Voxpopme tool, but I think what's very useful there is also just expanding people's horizons on what's actually possible in the market now, and kind of see, so maybe if you're doing a lot of this manual stuff, you could actually save some time and effort by adopting one of these tools out there. So hopefully that's valuable for everybody out there in the audience as well. Yeah,
absolutely. And like I say, we would love to have conversations. If anyone that's joined today and has a little bit of interest to learn more, give us a shout. We'll happily give you a more in-depth tour of the product or answer any of the questions that we didn't get to in the Q&A. More than happy to pick it up offline.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Katie and Tom.
Cheers, Rory. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.
So that brings us to an end, but if you did like our session today, we do have a larger conference that we run in New York coming up in May. We'll have 25 speakers, 500 attendees, but we'll be looking at the full product team. So it'll be much more than just research. We'll be looking at product management, how you do design, iteration there, and how you do true evolutionary development and iterative development. And so please do consider joining us in New York, or alternatively in Berlin, where we'll be the following week. So I look forward to hopefully seeing you at one of those events, but if not, I just want to thank our speakers once again for sharing a fantastic case study of how Voxpopme can help you. And thank you for tuning in, and look forward to seeing you at the next online event. Good night.